What's up, world? This is
Consciousness Speaks with Onika Whyte.
and Andrew Gobind. What's up, everyone? This is your boy Andrew. I'm alongside my homegirl Onika,
Hi, everyone.
and this is Consciousness Speaks. Today's topic is a great one. We did some great brainstorming earlier. What we're going to be talking about is how do we respond to life-changing experiences? Onika, the brainstorming session we just had and what we were bringing up on all these different areas of life-changing experiences, the one thing is something comes to an end, something changes, something that takes us off this course that we're on.
Yes, exactly, Andrew. And when we say things take us off the course, we're talking about the loss of a relationship, a job. It could be sickness, it could be the loss of your youth, injury, separation, death, and so on. So when these things change in our lives, it can influence us and in different ways, different degrees. So it's a matter of how we respond to these changes that happen in our lives.
Yes, Onika. And
Right?
part of these life-changing experiences and how do we respond to it is, you know, the narrative is it takes away from our identity, right? So, for myself and going through my divorce, it took away from my identity as this father in this marriage. It wasn't what I saw for myself, but at the same time, this is where life took me, and I had to accept those changes, and I had to move forward, going through that. And as I talk about it, in that moment, it was very difficult because it was such a big part of my identity, Onika. And I'm sure you can relate to having a life changing experience and feeling the same way.
Yeah, because for me it was a loss of a relationship that I invested in for a while, that I was identified with. You didn't see one person without the other because we were so inseparable. And because you've identified and you've wrapped up who you are into that relationship, then when it ends, it can affect you on a deep level. It can send you into despair, depression, and so on and so forth. And that's what I experienced. And it was not easy. But I understand that in life we go through changes. That's inevitable. That's a part of the human experience.
Yeah.
And it's a matter of what we do when these changes come our way. How do we deal with them?
That's right. One of the big things or things that we happens to us in life changing experiences, it's reactive.
Yes.
We're fearful because this is not the course or this is not the way that I saw my life going. And I'm already outside of the moment and I'm detaching myself to an outcome that doesn't exist.
Yes.
You know?
Because when you say it does not exist, first of all, let's understand this, that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And throughout the experience, we're going to go through different things and we're going to grow.
Yeah.
That's a part of the process. We're going to learn new things. Things are going to separate itself from our lives.
Yeah.
And that's big when things start to separate. And because we've identified with it for so long, when they come, we don't know how to deal with it. And that's why we are having these conversations now about going through life changes and what we're doing about it. Because until we start shedding light on it, then we can start finding ideas and ways how we can help each other
Yes.
to deal with them when they come our way, because that's going to happen.
Absolutely, Onika. And for me, going through the life-changing experience of saying, here I am in this new space as a single father and no longer in this marriage, not something that I saw for myself, so to speak, in the time, but I had to detach from the outcome and I had to attach to the moment.
Yeah.
And that's a big shift in my thinking, but it also allowed me to look at everything happening during that time. And even though I was fearful, interestingly enough, during that time, the fear, first of all, I didn't want to accept the fear. I didn't want to acknowledge it. And so I ran from it. And the way that I ran from it is, I started numbing myself and I would do things, whether it was drinking or not really dealing with the problem, and getting away from it. What I found during that time, here I was losing a part of my identity, but there was this inner peace I felt like I was losing as well because I didn't hold myself accountable and I didn't say, you know what, Andrew, embrace the moment embrace the fear, embrace what you're going through, and understand that, you can get through it when you don't focus on what's happening over here. We're not in a space to understand where life is going to take us. All we know is the present moment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's all we know. It is this moment that we're alive, and we have to make choices within that moment. Make choices that are ultimately gonna be beneficial to us. And I'm happy you're talking about this, Andrew, because so many people are going through things, and some talk about it, some keep it privately, but what does it do to us? Mentally and emotionally, what does it do to us? Because for me, when I was going through that ending of that relationship, I was in denial for the longest time. I kept it to myself, but I was hurting. I was hurting, but I was silently hurting. But at the same time, people can see it. They see that you're withdrawing, you see that you're changing. For me, I wasn't combing my hair, I wasn't taking care of my physical well-being. Sometimes I would come home from work, not even taking a shower. I would just do the minimum just to stay afloat, basically. But what I do understand, it's important for us to reach out to each other.
Yeah.
Understand that we're never alone, and we all go through life-changing experiences. And the support system is there, but it's a matter of us reaching out. And even family members, we can start seeing and acknowledging the things that are going on within each other to make sure we're looking out for the best interests of one another, because that's very important.
I think one of the most difficult things that we deal with, again, we go back to identity, right?
Yes.
And everything about identity is who am I, and what I put after who am I. And in this space, I was a father, I was a husband. I lost part of that identity, but it allowed me to reflect instead of react. It allowed me to reflect because there's a deeper identity that we don't talk about with these life-changing experiences.
Right. Or you can also create a new identity for yourself, because when I went through those experiences, I had to recreate an identity for who I am as an individual. Started to understand now, okay, this happened in my life. It's no longer my current, my reality. I'm now having to start living and understanding now how to make a new life for myself. Meaning I had to take time out, learn how to start loving myself again, how to start taking care of myself again. And those are important things. So it goes back to love.
Yes.
Goes back to self-love. And when you start loving yourself and taking care of yourself, you can start connecting back to love. So it's a choice in that situation, Andrew. It's a choice of what we do with those changing situations or life-changing situations that come our way. It's a matter of what we do with it, how we deal with them.
Absolutely. And it's acknowledging I'm fearful of losing my identity, but I'm also gaining new inner perspectives on who I truly am. I'm allowed to now explore this who am I on a deeper level. And I think that's so important, because when we don't have these life-changing experiences to teach us, we can stay in the same space, or we don't realize how this helps us move forward.
Yes. Yes, because when you're going through that, you can learn from it. But when we stay the same, we never grow, we never evolve. We just stay just the same way every year. We just remain the same. But we're here to grow, and we're here to evolve. And sometimes the changes that we experience, they're not going to make us feel good. They're not going to be pleasant. But we start to reflect and understand that we can learn from these experiences. So start seeking the opportunities to learn and grow in whatever experience that we're going through. And you'll find it. If you look for it, you'll find it. Because that's what I had to do. I had to start looking for moments of growth and learning.
Yeah. And it's changing the narrative, Onika, right?
Yeah.
Because we say, this happened to me, and I've lost this, and I've lost a part of my identity. But I have to change the narrative, and I have to say, what have I gained?
Yeah.
Right? What has this lesson taught me to move forward? how is this helping me grow? How is this helping me become more of my true self, which is really and truly my identity,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. That brings you back to the truth of who you are, who you've always been and will always be. Right? So it's a human experience, but we are here to grow and we're here to learn. Some of the experiences that we go through, they're not going to be comfortable, but having faith and staying in connection to God, meaning praying to make sure that line of communication is open, will allow us to go through these changes with more ease and grace. Because if we're not in that connection and we're not having that faith, we'll become unstable, unbalanced in our minds and in our hearts. And we don't want that because we want to be stable to get through the challenging situations and circumstances that come our way.
Stability happens in the present moment.
Yeah.
Stability doesn't happen when I've attached myself to an unknown outcome. Stability happens when I've detached from anything that's going to happen here and I stay right here in this present moment and I deal with what's happening right in front of me. I think one of the biggest things that happened to me during this time in my life, this growth time in my life and this healing time in my life, was that it allowed me, first I reacted, right? And that's important. I reacted by numbing. I reacted by, drinking or going out and doing things that didn't serve me. Eating, not a healthy diet, or just doing things that, sabotage how I truly felt. But I also realized in that space that it gave me the moment to say, this is not me. I don't feel like myself.
Yeah.
I've always I'm attaching myself to this identity that's no longer there. Now I need to attach to this identity that's always been there.
It can be painful.
Yes.
It can be painful because you're having to shed or let go of that old you. That's a very painful experience to go through. I went through it and I'm telling you, it's not fun. But if you keep a positive mindset and look at it from a place of love and understand that we're growing and you're having to learn, it'll be able to help you. And also, if you're struggling, you can seek out support and help from people who are going through similar experiences, or even seeking professional help to help you
Absolutely.
get through these trying times, because it's not easy. But just remember, never ever give up. Don't ever give up, because we're always learning and we're always growing and we're moving forward, because it's a part of the process. It's a process. You're going to have ups and downs, you're going to have trial and errors, but it's a process and we're here for each other.
Absolutely, Onika. And the
Yeah.
purpose of this podcast is, again, we talk about this platform that we've created to share, how we've dealt with it. And
Yeah.
it's not all about, how I've positively gone through it. It's like the process of, first of all, I had a life-changing experience that changed my identity, and I was fearful, so I ran from it. I numbed from it. I did things that brought me to a lower level. But in that space, I was able to also acknowledge that, you know what? I needed to feel this. I needed to go through this, so that now I can now understand what my true identity is, to look deeper into myself and under myself.
Yes, and it also connects you to something deeper.
Ah, yes.
Really.
Yes.
Because if you don't go through those things, it won't be able to allow you to open your heart. For me, that was the case. I was not as connected, I wasn't as compassionate, but once I went through it, and the pain that you feel, your heart just literally cracks open and allow you to start feeling and understanding the human emotions more.
Yes.
And when you're understanding, you're able to empathize and have more compassion for people who are going through similar things, knowing that we're all connected and we're all one and we're all a part of this wonderful experience that we're going through. So it's painful, but you'll appreciate it, how wonderful it is when you go through that process.
I absolutely love what you said, Onika, and I think these life-changing experiences is really not only to connect back to my true identity, but also to connect back to that higher power, to that divine, to that collective consciousness, right? Because that's what's happening in that space that we're in. And that's key to the healing and the growth because my identity is connected to something bigger than me.
Yes, yes. And we've even sometimes just celebrating or worshiping and just giving thanks,
Giving thanks,
and
yes.
just smiling, when it's just too much and it's so overwhelming for you to deal with everything that's going on around you. Just play some uplifting music. That's what I do sometimes.
Yeah.
I play some uplifting music and I dance and I just shake and I just do whatever just to release some of those emotions, because it can be overwhelming sometimes when you're going through these trying times. So when all fails, music, and just
Yes.
celebrate and just give thanks.
Absolutely. And it's again getting back to, we are here to give that different perspective, because if I didn't take that different perspective and say, here I am in this space and this changed me, but it changed me for the better.
Yes.
And it also was here because it's God's way of teaching me.
Yes.
It's this way that, you know what, you don't want to learn these other ways. Well, I have to change. I have to change this experience so that you understand what's happening right now in this present moment. And this is part of us, right? This is the narrative. This is the experience. This is where we share, and we're all connected, because we all that's inevitable. The human experiences, we're going to go through life-changing experiences, and it's going to change. When we're in our 30s and our 40s, and like everything is going to change, and we need to have the stability. We need to understand we have a community. We need to understand that we are connected to something bigger than us to really truly grow.
Yes. Yes. Because ultimately, we need to be in harmony.
Yes.
We are unconditional love, and some of these experiences will literally throw you upside down to get you back to the essence of who you are.
Isn't it fascinating?
It's amazing the fact that we have to go through all of this to get back to who we are.
Isn't it
the truth of who we are all along?
Isn't it fascinating? Because if we talk to the viewers and everyone out there, again, we're all connected, going through the same thing, different experience, but at the end of the day, when we break it down, it's all the same. We look at how we've processed it, how we've gone through it, and when we go back to a place of love, we can now reflect and say, oh, there is where I grew, right?
And now we can laugh about it.
Yeah.
Because we went through it and we understand the reason for it now. But when you're going through it, it's harder for you to understand or try to explain that to someone else. But just remember, stay strong, never give up, because we're moving forward. And we're learning along the way.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So it's important for us to understand that, to just keep holding your head up and just remain faithful. Because in all of this, you'll learn something new.
Absolutely.
So we want to know how you're handling the life-changing experiences that are happening in your life, and what you've learned along the way, and how you're able to overcome it. Because this is a conversation that we want to start having. This is the end of our podcast, the last season of it.
Yes.
The first season of the last episode. So we want to hear from you guys. Start talking to us. Start sharing your experiences with us, because it means a lot to us.
Absolutely. And that's a challenge for everyone out there. And the challenge for us, is how are you responding to these life-changing experiences? How have you responded to past life-changing experiences? And going forward, how are you going to respond? Because there's growth every time we go through a life-changing experience that charges us up, that changes or shifts us, or something that was so unexpected. But how did we overcome that? And we have to lean on that, because there's what we're leaning on. And we know, all the viewers, Onika and I know what we're leaning on is faith.
Yeah.
Right? Faith.
And for me, is that connection, that communication with God.
Yes.
Because you'll be able to help and guide us along the way if we stay in that communication with Him.
Faith is what enhances the communication to that divine.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yes, guys.
Yes.
So this is the end of a wonderful season. We want to thank you so, so much from the bottom of our hearts for all your love and support along the way. It means a lot to us. So remember, be you, be real, be authentic.
And just remember again, here we are. We're all on this journey together. We're all connected. We're all going through all the same things. And we're here to love and support one another.
Yes.
Onika, a pleasure again.
Thank you, Andrew.
Blessings and one love, everybody.
God bless you guys. Bye bye.